Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl. My name is Lisa, and I'm the gal behind this channel. And today I am joined by a very special guest who started out as a fellow podcaster and is now my boyfriend, Corey. Welcome to the show.
Wait, when did we start dating?
Well, a little while ago. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I just had 2 Lisa burgers and
Ooh,
I
Lisa
had some
Burger.
nachos.
Secret
Yeah,
recipe Lisa Burgers.
exactly. You'll never find it on the internet, that's for sure.
Mm-mm. Nope,
And
never.
my own little nacho recipe, and it was divine. It's because I was watching some Packer football. Packers kicked the Titans' butt. I'm happy. So
All
let's talk
right, go
some Buckeyes.
Packers.
Exactly.
I'm not an NFL fan, so I guess I'm open to cheering for whoever.
You
College
are you
football.
are obligated to cheer for your boyfriend's team if you are
Okay,
not
okay,
already
that's
connected to a
true.
team.
That's
Yes.
true. I guess it's good I'm not an NFL fan, because if I were, I'd probably be super hardcore, just like I am about these Buckeyes. And
Hmm.
yeah, I probably wouldn't want to change who I cheer for. But I am super hardcore just for these Buckeyes. College football, and not even really all of college football, the Buckeyes are really where my passion lies. So thank you guys who are joining us. If you've tuned in before, you know that I love these Buckeyes so much. I bleed scarlet and gray. I was born in Ohio and grew up cheering for them. And even though I'm all the way over on the West Coast now in LA, I still love these Buckeyes and still cheer for them wholeheartedly. So thank you so much for joining this show. Corey, you mentioned some nachos earlier. Nachos are bomb. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did to make your nachos today?
Yes, because I don't think anybody's thought of this, guys. I just go get those $2.99 a bag chips because what's the point of getting expensive Tostitos? They taste the exact freaking same.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, a tortilla chip's a tortilla chip.
I don't even get why people go expensive. It's like, okay. Um,
It can get
so
up there. I don't know. Maybe somebody watching disagrees with us. If you do, drop us
do
a note in the
comment. Fine.
comments.
Tell me why you're wrong. I don't care. But anyway, then I do the enchilada dip from Tostitos. I do like their dips.
Mm,
The quesos and dips are from Tostitos are really good. And the enchilada dip, just a little bit of that sprinkled on it. I don't go crazy with that. It's thick. It's a little bit more, I think, oily. And then you get the regular queso. I get mild queso and put that on top of it. And then I do something a little different. I get a pound of ground beef, ground chuck, and I cook that to brown perfection. And of course, after that, I add per pound. I go a quarter cup of manwich sauce, the bold, because I
mm,
want it to be a little sweeter. The bold is a little bit sweeter, and
mm-hmm,
then you mix in a quarter cup of regular queso with it. You
mm.
don't even need to season it; it's incredible. And then you put it on the nachos with the queso with the enchilada dip, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
add sour cream if you want. Some people like sour cream, some people don't. I like
Mm.
sour cream.
That's a
Um,
bomb. Oh my gosh.
it's insanely good.
Ugh, makes me
Doing
hungry.
nachos the right way. I mean, it's why be boring? Why go get regular queso and chips? Add
Right?
stuff to it. Have fun with it,
Yeah. Spice those nachos up a little
and you
bit. Well,
get some protein out of it. So there you go.
that sounds so bomb. Oh my goodness. I had a version of that, not with the manwich, with the queso mixed in. I think that was something new that you did, right?
Yeah, I just tried it
Uh,
today. I was like, yeah, shoot, why not? The
Well, the
cheese
queso.
makes everything better. So
I mean, can you have too much cheese? Is that even possible?
no,
Yeah,
it is not. In
I did
fact,
not.
I have tested that theory. It is not, in fact, impossible. In fact, the Lisa burgers had a lot of cheese on it. So
Yes, yes, that picture you sent me, yes, they did. But hey, cheese is the best, so can't go wrong there.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
you know what? Good day of watching pro football. So
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. And we got to watch our Buckeyes play yesterday, which is
hmm
also the best. I mean, it might not have started out the best game possible. Definitely not as fun as that game that we got to see them play against Western Michigan, where they just started right out the gate and took off. It took them
hmm
a little while to kind of get things going, find their rhythm, find their groove. It was hot
I
yesterday.
don't know that they ever really did on defense, to be honest.
That's true. That's true. They kind of did not. But it was
Hmm.
very hot at the shoe too yesterday. I
I
don't
don't
know.
care. I've heard that. I don't care. Marshall had to play in the heat too. I don't care.
They did. They did. You have a fair point. Coming
And the
off the bye.
offense played in the heat, but the offense didn't struggle.
Okay, okay. Touche. You're very right about that. But, I was super thrilled with what we saw on offense. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yes, that was really, really fun. There were a couple like trip ups here and there. I think Will Howard threw his first interception.
It had
Um,
to come, at some point. So
it had to come at some point. I think his first sack too, right? I don't think he'd been sacked before.
maybe. I'll say this for him: K State losing to BYU. I'm sure they'd like to have Will Howard back right about now.
Yeah, I am so glad that we have him. So, so glad.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the good first, then we'll dive into some of the bad that we saw as well. So, in your opinion, Corey, what was some of the good, like the best parts from the game?
I'm going to leave the defense off of that slate altogether.
Yeah.
I and the kicker. Wow.
Okay, we're saving that. We're saving that. We'll talk about that.
The good is a shorter list. I'm going to start with something I'm noticing this year that's an unsung, unheralded hero of the offense that nobody's talking about, except maybe in private circles, is the wide receiver blocking is the best it's been since Urban Meyer.
Mm,
100%. If you look at that 86-yard touchdown by Quinshon Judkins, it was, I mean, yes, the left side of the line just opened the freaking sea for him, but the
seriously.
Carnell Tate coming down and putting a seal block on a linebacker or a safety. I'm not sure what position that guy was, but he put a seal block on there, allowing Quinshon to get
Yes.
outside. We have not seen that in years.
That was amazing. Oh my gosh.
So that to me is top of the line good. Just
Hmm.
absolutely excellent. Seeing our wide receivers block on the perimeter, allowing our run game looks the best it's been since 2019, and it is not
Oh,
only due to the running back talent. It is not only due to Henderson and
it's
Judkins being dogs. That's not.
partially that, but yeah, there's so much more that goes
Yes,
into it. So much
exactly.
more.
It's not. I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They are the best running back tandem in the country, bar none. I
Oh
don't
my
care what anybody.
goodness, hands down. And I'm so glad that
Yep.
they're Buckeyes, that they're both
Yeah.
Buckeyes, that, one Trey stayed.
And they're
And then
both really good people on top of everything else. So,
exactly. And then too, we got Quinshon in here too. They are just both tearing it up, both with 2 touchdowns each yesterday.
mm,
I heard a crazy stat today. I was listening to the 247 Sports kind of live post game show that they do, and they threw out the stat that Quinshon hit 3,000 rushing yards in his career yesterday. So in the game yesterday, and then Trey is, I think they said maybe 60 yards away from him hitting 3,000 yards career rushing
I
yards. So
think Trey will hit it. Just a thought.
probably next weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, when by the time this video posts this weekend. So this
Yeah.
Saturday, I would not be surprised at all if he hits that. And that is incredible.
And the run game's averaging 9-10 yards a carry. It's ridiculous.
I
It's
think yesterday
ridiculous.
they averaged like 12 yards a carry, which is
That,
crazy. It's just like
but let's
nuts.
give some credit to the dogs
Yes,
up
thank you.
front.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
was going to take it there too, because that, hands down, like this would not be happening if we didn't have that.
they are playing better than they have since Ryan Day's first year here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Chip Kelly has a lot to do with that. There's no
Yes.
question in my mind. It isn't. It isn't that Justin Fry just figured it out. For whatever reason, Justin Fry's teaching works with Chip Kelly's offense probably better
Mm-hmm.
than as a chemistry. Tim Drevno being there's an assistant or a quality control or whatever he is helps as well. They've got that offensive line just mauling people, and
Yeah.
not to mention all of the stunts and all the pulls they're doing. They're extremely hard to predict and read right off the bat and trigger for the linebackers that we're opposed. Now we haven't played anybody great yet. I get it. We'll see what happens. Michigan State's a little better up in competition. But that being said, they I'm so impressed with the offense line. I've been crying for years. Like, when is this offense line going to get back to the 2019 era?
Mm-hmm.
Because 2019 they were mauling teams that were great against the run. Right now they're
Yeah.
just like they're playing with their food, when they
Yeah.
play these teams. So
Yeah.
Simmons and Jackson just and McLaughlin all made from the center to the left looks like
Yes.
it might be the best in the country. I'm not going to go ahead and say that it is because I know Georgia's
Hmm.
got good line. I know other teams got good
They
lines,
do.
but
Hmm.
that
And
being
we need them against tougher competition too. That's the
yeah,
other
yeah,
thing.
that's true. And Bama has a really good line, so I'm not going to pretend like
Mhm.
it's obvious. You can't deny it. No, but they're making a case, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great to see, honestly, between that and then the wide receivers blocking and
Mm-hmm.
just really helping to keep things open. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
the running backs take off, it has just been so
That
incredible to
second
see.
level is wide open for those guys, and they're playmakers.
It is.
They can both house it. So
Oh my gosh, seriously. They're both so fast and they just
yeah.
run. I feel like Trey runs with a different energy this year, and it just feels
Mm-hmm.
like, Quinshon runs with that kind of like,
They're
just like,
competitive. They want to outdo each other. You know.
competitive, but they just like, they run, they have purpose, they are getting
Mm-hmm.
hit, and they are just pushing the ball so many yards forward, even when they do get tackled and they go down. It's incredible to see because it was before they'd get hit and it'd be like, okay, they're immediately down.
And what I loved also was seeing that Quinshon go 86 yards, and I see the group chats and people on Twitter, man, he's better than Trey. And then Trey rips off a 40 because he knocked somebody on his ass. Oh, sorry, on his butt.
That
Uh,
stiff arm, oh my
yeah,
goodness. I loved that. That was amazing.
yeah, that was just like, get off me. Who
So
do you think
brutal.
you are? It's like, I'm Trey Henderson. Don't you know who I am? So,
Exactly. Like,
um,
nope. Not
but then
even.
he does this whole, hey, I'm still here. And then I'll say one more good thing before we move on.
Okay.
Emeka Egbuka having a I'm still here game, you
Oh
know,
my gosh, yes.
because I'll tell you, everybody's going gog over Jeremiah Smith, rightfully so.
They
But the game
are.
plan, they didn't really, other than the interception, I guess it happened where Jeremiah kind of quit on his route and then Will underthrew him.
Yeah.
They really weren't game planning to go to Jeremiah much. They clearly were trying to get Emeka involved in the offense because you got to keep him happy. And
You gotta
um,
keep him happy, but he's also elite. Like, he's
no, I
good.
agree.
Like,
Yeah,
really good.
but when's the last time you've seen those screen passes go to the house like that since Paris Campbell was here? Paris
Mm.
Johnson as if he's taking screen passes, but Paris Campbell, when Paris Campbell was here and he could take it to the house again, that's the Urban Meyer era. We're bringing it back to wide receiver perimeter blocking to where our receivers can make plays in the open field. We're dangerous from any spot on the from the line of scrimmage on. We're
I
a dangerous
love it.
offense. Yeah.
I love it so much. And Emeka is right on track to blow that receiving yards record out of the
Mm-hmm.
water before the end of the season. And I could not be happier for him. He is, oh gosh, I was looking this up, maybe 60 or 70 yards behind, pulling ahead of Garrett Wilson. So that'll put him in 10th place there. He's just going to be, knocking them off as the season goes by.
By the way, I'm actually extremely happy for Garrett Wilson. You're sure finally getting a quarterback in the NFL.
Ah,
I know
okay.
you don't know this, but he's playing with Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers is 40, but he's still
Mm.
really good. He's still really good though, and Garrett's just like, thank you, finally.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome for him. Yeah, I
Hmm.
totally do not pay that close of attention to all the ins and outs of what goes on with the NFL. I'll hear things here
That
and there,
close? You mean any attention at all?
but outside of that, I'm kind of like, you know, that happens over there. I'm just focused on the Buckeye football stuff. That's my jam.
I focus on the Buckeyes at the next level.
Yeah, yeah. I like to see them do good. I definitely do like to see them do good. So let's talk a little bit more about the negatives of the game yesterday. So you
Okay,
mentioned a few
let me get my
things
vodka here.
already. Oh geez, yeah, you're gonna need it because this hurts. This really, really hurts. So you mentioned the big one is the defense. The defense that we all love so much, that we're doing so good and playing with so much fire, just were like yesterday. Like, what happened?
I'll say this up front. Jim Knowles clearly called a very vanilla defensive game plan.
Yes.
Extremely vanilla. And I don't think he quite expected, or anybody expected, Marshall to A, have a really good offensive game plan, and B, Stone
Stone Earl.
Earl, sorry, him to play. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I don't think anybody expected him to just like complete the passes he did.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
There's
also,
that.
the biggest frustration is that D line can't get near the
Mm.
quarterback when they rush four. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and say your viewers can hate me. I don't care. JTT has been underwhelming.
Ugh. Ugh. I
Uh,
mean, you're right. You're right. Still love JT.
I'm not saying I don't love him. He's a Buckeye. I love him.
Yes.
But he has not lived up to the 5-star otherworldly billing that he
And
came
you're
in
not
with.
the only one saying this. You are not the
Hmm.
only one saying this. Trust me. But
But
even
I
when
don't
other
know.
people say it, I'm still kind of like, ugh, but JT.
I'm going to make people further mad. I don't
Uh
know
oh.
that it's necessarily just him, or maybe the coaching ain't quite there anymore.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. What you trying to do on here?
I'm just saying, Larry, I love you, but that D line ain't the monster it used to be. They have plenty of talent to be that.
Mm-hmm.
I love Larry. I do.
They
Larry's
do.
a
They
Larry's
do.
Larry's a Buckeye legend. I'm not. I'm
The
not trying to.
talent's all there. Oh yeah, he'll always be a Buckeye legend. Always.
Hmm. I love him. I want him. I'll put a statue outside of him. I don't care. But again, the D line's got to get to the quarterback, and they're just not. I don't know if it's totally Larry, if it's just not a mixture between him and Noel's style doesn't quite work. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that could totally be it. It's hard to know exactly what's going on there.
and we Sawyer still is pretty good, but he's not Bosa. But he has games where he's close.
He has games
Now
where he really turns it on.
I kind of wonder if they're bored too. I don't know
Hmm.
because they're playing against another inferior opponent. They didn't have one of those big gargantuan opponents early in the off season or the
Yeah,
out of
they
conference
still
season.
have to wait. They still have to wait.
Well, they got to get up for Michigan State. Michigan State is a team that can upset you. And
Okay, okay. Let's talk a little bit about
all
Michigan
right,
State now.
I'm not talking like they have the talent to do it, but pure emotion wise, yes, they
Okay,
can. They
okay.
can do it.
Pure
Um,
emotion wise, I can totally see that. I can see it's the start of Big Ten play. That's a big deal in
mhm.
and of itself. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would come with a little bit more juice. Did you see their game yesterday at all?
A little bit, and I thought they lost to Boston College. Boston College. Hey, Bill O'Brien, Buckeye legend, is tearing it up
That's
for Boston.
very true. That's very true.
I'm actually, I hated losing Bill. I thought he'd have been a good offense coordinator, but I'm actually happy for him because
Same.
he didn't
Worked
leave
out.
he didn't leave to be a jerk. His son needs treatment at that hospital, so it made sense to go
Mhm.
back to Boston when an opening comes up.
Absolutely.
So wish him and
Absolutely.
his family nothing but happiness and health. Seriously.
Same, same.
But
But
yeah, Michigan State, their QB turns the ball over a lot. Don't get me wrong. I just
yes, yes. I think he
um,
has 7 interceptions so far
mhm.
on the year. So
Yeah.
yeah, not
Well,
great. Not
he's
great. I see that and I'm like, if our defense is paying attention again and they go into this game against Michigan State, we could have some fun with that.
yeah, but here's my concern. Ryan
Okay.
Day is a very good head coach. I don't want to fire him or anything stupid like that.
Thank you.
But his Achilles heel in his time with Ohio State has been his teams start a little slow.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
I don't understand. Now, Western Michigan aside, we started that game guns blazing and just blew the water lid off the top, whatever.
Yeah.
But Akron started slow. Akron, okay, his first game, whatever. Go on a bye week for week 3 for whatever God knows reason why, and then
Yeah.
we come out against Marshall, and Marshall's a decent team. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They are a halfway
They're being
decent team.
decent. They're well coached. They
Yes, they
have,
are.
you know,
I
they
like
have a
Charlie Huff. I think he's a solid guy, and
mm-hmm.
but still, it is a team you are far superior in talent. Far,
Yes.
far superior. And I don't know if your team's just bored or what. You can keep doing those quick cows in the beginning of the game if you want. It doesn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
The team, I don't know how Urban was so great at being the psychologist to get his team ready to go. But
Mm-hmm.
not to say he never had slow starts, but Urban's teams were a little bit better than that. And Ryan, I love him. I think there's so many good things about him as a head coach. He's got an incredible winning record. He's 42 and
Yes.
0 against non-ranked opponents. He doesn't
Yep.
lose those stupid games, like
The ones that drive you crazy and you're just like,
yeah.
what happened here?
Yeah, how do we? I mean, even Urban did that a couple of times where he just lost to teams. It was like, wait a minute, now we're way
Yeah.
better than this team.
That they shouldn't have lost to.
And you would lose to Iowa 52-14 or whatever it was, or 24 or whatever it was. And you're thinking, we are so far better than them that this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Ryan Day does not lose those games. So there's something to be said about that. He's more steady Eddie than Urban was at times. But
yeah.
I think a team against like Michigan State, now don't get me wrong, they're nothing special. There's nothing they do that's like, wow. But with the emotion coming into the game, this could be their Super Bowl. This could make their whole season. This could be the program starter for Jonathan Smith, you know.
Uh-huh.
And he's trying to rebuild a program. I think he'll do a good job. I think he's a good coach. But
Yeah.
I could see this game going one of two ways. I could see Michigan State possibly winning a closer type game where it's like, what the heck happened? Or Ohio State goes and blows them out by 30.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's closer to the latter. But these kinds of things, these little storylines kind of concern me a little bit when we go into these games. Like, oh, please, God, make sure you're fired up and ready to go. Don't, because they got Iowa next and they got Oregon. Don't look ahead. Focus on the team right now.
That's the thing. They could totally get caught looking ahead this weekend because it just starts to ramp up and then it goes up, for a bit there. So I really hope that they come in focused, they come in ready to play. They've got that fire. Our defense isn't sleeping. Because if they do all those things, I am not even concerned about Michigan State. I mean, Michigan
I agree. Talent for talent, pound for pound, we should whoop them. We really should.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan State lost this game against Boston College. They won their first 3, but, 2 were against nobody. 1 was against Maryland, but...
The Maryland game surprised me. That's the one that was like,
yeah?
Whoa, they beat Maryland? I thought Maryland was going to put up 49 on them and beat them by about 10 points or 15 or whatever point.
I say about Maryland, though.
I don't know that Maryland's that good or anything. I'm just saying I figured Maryland was far enough into their program to be settled enough to where John Smith's trying to figure out. I mean, John Smith's not established yet, so I figured Maryland would beat him.
This is his first year in the job. I mean, everything, they started basically from scratch. I mean, almost everybody got fired. He brought in his own people, I think.
The scandal with Mel Tucker. I mean, it was just,
after all of that, they were just like, nah. So
I mean, he's got to rebuild, and I'm confident he'll do it. And he'll make them a respectable, competitive program. Don't get me wrong. But you figure right now wouldn't be it. But again, it's like Thad Matt against Illinois in his I think first year, where again Ohio State basketball, where he's trying to get a program started.
Yeah,
and he just comes out and upsets the best team in the nation. Like, don't get caught looking ahead. Focus week to week. Hey, Denzel Burke, I'm calling you out right now, buddy. You say it's natty or bust. It's one game a week, man.
That's right.
One game a week.
Stay focused. You got to give your all. Yeah.
I don't want to see any of this Cinderella crap. I want that Cinderella story quelched in the first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a couple, good defenders on their team. I know they're really
they have some talent. Yeah, for sure. You don't win 3 games without having some talent. Obviously, they have some talent.
Yeah, I mean, they won 3 games. They did. They definitely... They have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. They have 2 guys who have 3 sacks each, which I thought was, pretty impressive there. I know they're hurting with wide receivers. They are down their 3 core wide receivers due to injury. They got hit by the injury bug pretty badly. So, I mean, they've been playing with the next guys up, but they don't know when their wide receivers are going to be able to be back. So they're definitely hurting in that area. On the running back side of things, I know they have one running back with like 270 yards, another running back with just over 200 yards. So they seem to be doing pretty decently with that. And then their quarterback does seem to be able to use his feet when needed to. I think he had 50 yards on the ground in the game against Boston College last weekend. So when it needs to get done, it gets done.
That's been a bit of an Achilles heel for the Ohio State defense as a running quarterback.
That makes me a little bit nervous. Not gonna lie, that makes me a little bit nervous there, just knowing that.
I do think we're not going to call vanilla defense this week, though. I definitely think we'll start off with a spy right away. I mean, it took us a while to get a spy on Stone Earl, which we were just very basic. And then when I saw him trying to scramble and Sonny Styles would come up, I'm like, okay, finally they're spying him. By the way, Sonny Styles, we have to have a talk about him. His PFF grade was really low, and he really looked he really looked at that game. They looked lost a lot of times in that game. And I kind of wonder if he's
Yeah.
actually impacting the safety play in the box with Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs a little bit, because he's maybe not performing the level he should. I mean, look, Laurinaitis is the coach. I know Stoney Styles just became the linebacker, but you got to
Yeah.
get these guys playing at a higher level. And
Yes, especially especially for the athlete that he is. Like
yeah,
he should
one
be
of the best
playing at
athletes on
a
the
higher
team.
level.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
got to say,
yeah,
his
that's
brother
the thing.
Lorenzo is looking great as a backup nickelback. He's actually coming in and playing pretty well. He did a really nice tackle on a third down, I think it was.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I saw him
he's
come in there
actually.
quite a few times yesterday, and I was just like, yeah, you're getting it done.
I don't know what was up with Hancock. Hancock was getting cooked most of the game.
Mm.
Lorenzo's probably the starter in the slot next year. So
Mm.
it's good that he's getting out there and getting rotated. Jermaine Matthews had a couple nice hits. I thought he played pretty well. But again, we got this coming up. This I think the defense, it'll be a different defense we're calling against Michigan State than we did against, obviously, Marshall. But I think you got to. I wonder if Knowles is going to be afraid to blitz Childs with his ability to run. Because if you over pursue once, he busts a 30-yard run on you, and there's nobody
That's
there.
very true. That's very true.
So
Yeah,
obviously, with the receivers down, he's going to put his guys on an island. So we're going to probably play a lot of front seven pressure packages on Childs, try to force him into some mistakes. So it'll be definitely a little bit interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be interesting. I'm just really looking for the defense to play better than they did this past weekend, because this past weekend it worked against Marshall, but it's not going to work against other teams. So if they come out slow and they come out sleepy and they never find that fire, that just makes me very, very nervous. I mean, granted, again, the final score, just like with the Akron game, it came out and it looks super dominant. I mean, they won 49-14. So you take that and the final score looks like it should look with a team like Marshall. I mean, I'd love to see fewer points on defense, obviously. But I still have so much love for the defense, but they got to get it together. What we saw yesterday was just not what they are capable of. That's they're not performing up to their level.
And I want to point out people who, and this is a friend of mine in the group chat that brought this up, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a good friend, but he said they only gained 62 yards on us in the second half, and I get that, but their quarterback got hurt, and the second
their quarterback went out. They threw in whoever else they had, which they just
that guy
make
stunk. He was terrible.
Yeah.
He could run the ball a little bit, but he couldn't throw to save his life. So he was basically Alex Orji, is what he was. And so I look at that and say, well, I don't. We started stacking the box a little bit more for him and didn't really worry about his pat. I mean, Stone could throw the ball. I'd argue Stone, if Stone were in the Big Ten, I'd argue he's probably better than half the quarterbacks in the Big Ten, including anybody Michigan has. Just saying. So I would.
We all know they stink anyway. So
their quarterbacks do, for sure. The sad part is I said, and nobody believed me. I said, look, if they go back to what they do best, which is run the ball, they're going to actually probably either compete really well with UC. It's going to be a close game, or they're going to beat them. And look what happened. I was like, guys, this is their identity. They need to get back to that identity. Now, granted, they can't do that to everybody. They're not going to do that with us. People are like, oh, they're going to run all over us. Not with Tyleek Williams back in the lineup. Not when we're putting the front. We're stacking the box, daring Alex Orji to beat us. And I mean, they don't have the receivers to beat us one-on-one. So I'm not worried about that at all. If people want to look at them, I mean, I saw people. Why I'm saying that is because people were panicking over the Marshall game. I was like, look, we played a very vanilla defensive game plan against Marshall. Don't worry about that. But they do need to play better and more inspired football. They definitely came out flat and just didn't care. I don't want to say they didn't care. They care, but they're like, okay, we should beat this team by 30. I think a Michigan fan, ironically said to me best, is like, they look good. They just look like they're ready for a real opponent, So,
yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
I think that's probably true.
They are. They've been waiting. We've been waiting. We are waiting. All these games are fun in the sense that, like, we know Ohio State should win. They should cream these teams that they are playing. They should cream them from the very beginning, and that's where it's a little frustrating when they don't. But ultimately, they pull out the victory. We get to see some flashy plays. We get to see more players play, even though the starters were in way too long yesterday. But all in all, it does step up a little bit with Michigan State this coming Saturday. It's going to be fun to watch the Buckeyes take the field again. Hopefully the defense
on Peacock
is
for some stupid reason.
Oh, I know, but what are we going to do about it? There's really nothing we can do about that. So
I miss the day where it was just on ABC every week.
That would be so much easier, so much easier. But, that's another show, another topic. I'd love to hear what everybody watching thinks this game is going to be like against Michigan State. Do you think it's going to be anything different from what Corey and I spoke through? Or, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on what you saw with the Buckeyes this past Saturday, too? I'd love to hear all of that. Go ahead, drop some comments down below. I read through all of them, respond back to all of them. And I just love, connecting with you guys that way. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Corey, do you have any final thoughts before we kind of wrap this up?
I'm going to say to all the guys in the comment, calm down. She's taken, so.
True. Awesome. Well, also, let everybody know, where can they find you? You're pretty active on Twitter. You definitely know your Buckeye stuff.
Debatable. The at Scarlet Great CT on X. I'm on the I'm usually on Scarlet and Great, but I haven't been on there lately because I'm letting Johnny kind of run the program right now. But I am on the OHIO podcast every Sunday night now live. So if you want to check that out,
that's right.
They've completely added me to the lineup there, and in fact, tonight as we're recording this, I'm going to be recording with them. It's just going to be Chris and JR and I. Eric is out of town, but so it'll be the three of us discussing the past game, and I get to rail on the defense a little bit more, and I'm happy about that because I
more than I let you do.
Yeah, I could have gone on for an hour. Just it was
yes.
You saw my text, Lisa. I was getting frustrated.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. No, that'll be good. I'll definitely be tuning in. Probably by the time I get this show edited and up, actually, definitely by the time I get this show edited and up, it'll already be past that live show. But, next weekend, guys, tune into that. It's a really great live show that the OHIO podcast guys put on there. It gives them a chance to really talk about what happened in that game, break things down kind of position by position, and dive into some of the details. So it's fan run. But check that out. That's the OHIO podcast. They do the live show. I think they run it through Facebook, YouTube,
everything.
Maybe. Yeah.
X, YouTube. I thought it was Xbox. I'm so stupid. I was just I saw the little X up there. I was like, is that Xbox? Oh, it's X.
I still call it Twitter. Twitter. Yeah, if you find them on a platform, you'll be able to tune into that. Definitely check that out. And I guess that's all that we have for this week. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the other side of the game. OH.
I-O.
Buckeye!